Truworths is the leading fashion retailer on the JSE, operating over 257 stores in South Africa and 14 franchise operations in Africa and the Middle East. They're now competing with more foreign operators such as Spain's Zara. Truworths has a market cap of 45 billion rand, a dividend yield of 3% and a price to earnings ratio of 20. Firstly, with your wisdom in the merchandising space and the clothing merchandising space, do you think they've got it right?
Look, they are the preeminent player in the space. They got the largest market cap. They were one of the first to offer credit, in-store credit cards. People thought, oh, that sounds a bit risky, but they've done very well at maintaining their, write-offs, their net write-offs, their delinquencies are relatively low. So that's good. On the whole, they seem to get that model right. Lots of different brands, as you know, men, women, at different points in the market in terms of upper end and lower end and so on. So they really do clothing. They do it well. Michael Mark is a past master. I noticed they did lose their CFO recently, but all things generally seem to be going very well with them. And
again, Gary, if we look at what's happening on the share price here, it's not as steep as what we've seen from the likes of a Woolworths, and it looks as though it's top-ish, sort of flattening out here. Would that be the way that you describe the price action on this one?
Yeah, I think we're definitely more underweight Truworths than we are with the rest of the retailers, and that's, I think, we've got sort of expected earnings growth to be around 13% for the year. Next year, looking at probably around 16%, which is significantly lower than sort of the counterparts. Looking at it as well, I think, I have to refer to my retail analyst who actually visits these stores and goes and has a look and has his models that he draws up. And he's saying the stores may be looking a little bit more sloppy than the likes of Vunani, and that also, maybe not carrying the product range that some of the other retailers are. And that's also maybe...
What, now you don't like their merchandising. Paul says it's great, and you said there's a problem with it. Is that what's happening here?
Like I said, I qualified it right in the beginning. It's a retail expert that I'm referring to. So he's telling me that that's the general feeling, and it is affecting sales at the moment.
In terms of management, as you said, the FD has left recently, but that's not a cause for concern.
Well, his name is Mark Sadi. A young guy, was at Nedbank, went there. He's apparently taking up a job at a pharmaceutical company, so I'm assuming that might be Cipla MedPro as their chief operating officer. So Mark's moving around. I don't think that's really a major concern. They'll obviously have to look for somebody to come in and do the same thing. But, South Africa, everybody, you heard the term successorize. Everybody wants to successorize themselves. You want to look good so that you can go to your new job at Home Affairs or whatever it is. We've seen lots of expansion in the lower middle classes, in government positions. You've got to look decent when you go to work. So what are you going to do? You're going to go get a club card, or you're going to get a card from Truworths or whatever, and that's really where the business model is. I think it's got lots more road to go. So long as they can continue to deliver on the credit front and the buying, I think there's no stopping it.
Perhaps that's a term you should share with your retail experts, a successorize.
Successorize, yeah, no, there's no question. I mean, they are targeting a slightly higher LSM anyway, so it's something that maybe you've seen with consumers under pressure, perhaps buying down a little bit in the fashion as well. Still, yeah, not really hot for me.
Let's just talk about the retail sales that were out yesterday, up 6.4%, and of course people weren't expecting the South African Reserve Bank to cut interest rates on the back of that positive news flow in the retail space. Positive momentum from consumers. They don't appear to be under pressure. Would you concur with that thought process?
Yeah, when you talk about who's under pressure and whose economy is bad, it's always people that are rich that are complaining about whether or not life is good or life could be better. If you talk in South Africa about surveys, the ethnic group that comes up strongest in terms of people's view of the future and how much better it's getting are Zulu South Africans. The reason being people have got low expectations now. Of course, they think things are going to get better. So I think this is a great growth story. I think the retail sales are the ones you've got to watch. The credit extension numbers are tricky because you've got all these non-bank financials extending credit. So it's very difficult to read who's doing what. Yes, there can be problems. We've seen with economic downturns, these guys can get into difficity. But, it's not like they just started doing this.
Do you believe the key is retail sales here?
Looking at the retail sales numbers, obviously we did, I think it was 6.4. It's a big jump off of 1.1 the month before. But, if you look at it year to date, because that immediately strikes you as a bit strange, because you speak to the CEOs, they're all coming out and saying, because African consumers under pressure, we're not doing so well this year, we're seeing a bit of slower sales.
I think they all are now, in terms of under-promise, over-deliver. Yeah. Their investor relations departments are working extra hard to make sure their share prices don't go the wrong direction when they come out with their results.
No, definitely. But looking at it, I mean, if you take retail sales year to date as well, I mean, we compared it to 2011. You're looking at about first 5 months of the year. You're looking at about 5.5%. This year, about 4.5%. So it is. We are slightly behind where we were last year anyway. So I think the consumer under pressure. But yeah, again, the rate cut decision today, the whole game changes.
Exactly, a game changer. So hot or not on Truworths, Mr. Paul Theron?
Hot for me.
Not for me.
Gary, hot or not?
Not for me. I think
not hot.
A little bit too conservative.